Game 3 here, and this looks pretty bleak in terms of what you can do, right? There's no draw unless you spam Royal Carriage on Fortress many times. But for what? How would you collect that many Royal Carriages? You do have a gain in Smugglers and Explorer, Beggar as well, but why would you want to gain 3 coppers in this board? Because Philosopher's Stone exists. Woohoo! There's also inheritance, but we have shelters one, and what are you going to inherit? Like actually, what are you going to inherit? Inherit feast for lols. So it looks like money. Explorer big money, merchant ship big money. That seems reasonable, right? That seems reasonable. So let's go for that. Let's go for merchant ship big money. Be open silver, buy some merchant ships, buy some provinces. Don't worry too much about distant lands because I think it'll be too slow. I think so. I think it'll be too slow. You could just go for the provinces and the duchies and it'll outweigh the distant lands. So I open Smuggler's Silver, because Smuggler's is a good card in general. You know, kinda want to see what my opponent is doing. I expect him to play a money strategy, so when he buys silver, I could get an extra silver. That's cool. That's cool. I could do that. I could do that. If he randomly buys a distant lands, I could get distant lands. If he buys gold, I could get gold. No problem. If he buys merchant ship, I'll get merchant ship. No problem. So I do get a merchant ship here, and he gets a smugglers on his previous turn, so I have to watch out for that. That is something I need to pay more attention to in my game, right? When my opponent has smugglers, I need to track their deck to know where their smugglers might be, so as to not give them an advantage. You know, they might not have something and then they can just smuggle it for effectively free. Don't want that, right? Don't want that. So 6 for my opponent. They go for the merchant ship over the gold. I'm not sure. Maybe you should have gone for gold there. I don't know. Here these things collide, which is not great, of course. But my opponent smuggles one of my merchant ships, and I could have not gotten a merchant ship to prevent him from getting the merchant ship because I was tracking the smugglers. I knew it was probably going to happen there, but I'm not going to deny myself a merchant ship just to deny my opponent a merchant ship. So I decided to get it anyway because it's a good card for my deck, and I don't really care if you smuggle it. That's good for you if you smuggle it. I'm not gonna deprive myself just to cut you off. They're buying the estate to trash the hovel. Why? This is going to be a money game, it looks like, and that could serve as a tiebreaker, and I wasn't really doing anything else that turn. Beggar could be useful-ish, but nah. Poor house, not at all. So 9 here for my opponent. This is going to be province, right? Easy province. When my opponent spends some time thinking about it, maybe wanting to buy a gold or something before they go for the provinces. Because it is quite early. It's only turn 8 or so. Well, not that early, but still early. So between gold and province, maybe another merchant ship here even. Maybe a royal carriage. But no, inheritance. This surprised me. Inheritance and fortress. That surprised me. Maybe my estate buy triggered something in him, causing him to do that, but I did not expect inheritance. I don't think you need to buy that here. It's not that good. There's no nice way to gain estates. There's no plus buy, no workshop. Another smuggled merchant ship, and 7 of those are gone now. And my opponent refuses to pick up another one, picks up a royal carriage instead. Which, yeah, that's reasonable. Maybe I should have picked up one because I feel like I'm gonna play this merchant ship here and have 5. So, and I could have had a royal carriage down on my mat. So my opponent just buys an estate here, not even trashing the hovel, just straight buys the estate. I mean, functions as a fortress now, which is fine. We do have quite a bit of terminals in our deck. Instead of the royal carriage, I am thinking about. It could go for the explorer. I think my opponent has an explorer. Or we'll get one soon anyway, but I go for the silver because I have that many terminals. I don't want to over terminal myself. There's 7 of the merchant ships gone, and I think I have 4 of them, so I don't want to kill myself with merchant ships. So finally, province for my opponent. Unlucky 7 for me here. That's not great. That's not great. At this point in the game, you want to be hitting 8, right? I hit 7. I buy a gold instead of the province. 5 for my opponent is going to be the Explorer. Here's the Explorer. And here's another 7 for me. Not where you want to be in money games at this point. I mean, no, wait, at any point, but especially this point, it's time to green now. It really is time to green. I should be hitting province. No, it's not happening. A distant lands for my opponent here now. So, I don't know. I don't like distant lands. I don't like the inheritance. I think both things are just like the distant lands is too slow. The inheritance is unnecessary. I do smuggle it though. I'll take a free distant lands. I could probably set it aside on my next shuffle. 5 here again. I probably should have picked up a royal carriage on one of these 5s. One of the last 2 5s at least, but I am considering the fortress because I have a lot of terminals, but there's no real way to guarantee. No real way for me to guarantee. I could draw fortress on a lot of money and then not pay it up with any terminals, then what good is the fortress, right? I just pick up the silver. I know I can make use of the silver. Back to that low risk thing is what I was told. What I was what was in my mind for this match, right? Try to play as low risk as possible. So I do pick up the silver over the fortress. Um, yeah, for that reason, I know I can make use of the silver. I don't know if I can make use of the fortress, even though I've had terminal collision in this game a few times. My opponent gets their distant lands down here and picks up another, as I am going to pick up another province, and I do have another province here, even being able to set aside my distant lands. So the race is on for those distant lands. Can they get there fast enough? There's just 2 provinces left, and my deck is churning out a province at turn at this point here. This is another province. So after this, there'll just be the 1 left. If my opponent buys the second last, I'll be happy. 6, now my opponent still picks up the distant lands, but after this penultimate province, they switch over for duchies at this point. So picking up a gold there actually of that explorer, which is very nice. Duchy for my opponent, here 7 for me. Could be gold, could be duchy, because I am going to reshuffle very soon, but time to just throttle those points. Try to compensate for the distant lands that maybe set aside in the future. Could go for estate, choose not to, go for silver. The estate isn't helping me at this point. This shuffle I will pick up estates though. Very happy to pick up estates. Duchy for me here, still staying ahead of the game. This point, duchy for my opponent, and this is the last province to win. So that's a win for me playing money. Woohoo! Thanks for watching, see you in the next game.